Hi Year 5. I'm back again with chapter 4 today of The Boy Who Sailed the Ocean in an Armchair. Let's make a start. The half-term break is over and we have not found Pearl, and I've not discovered how to say goodbye to Mum, no matter how much I want to. Saying goodbye to someone you wish you could stay with every minute is the hardest thing ever. I've thought about it so much my head feels muffled, and that's no good because today's my first day at Bleeding Heart School and my 11th birthday, and Dad's shouting at me to hurry up and open my cards. I trudge into the kitchen where Billy is waving 5 cards in my face. The first one's from Dad. It has a picture of a man playing golf on a hilly green. I do not like golf. It says, "Happy 40th, you're not quite over the hill yet." Dad shrugs and says he was in a hurry. Sorry. Card 2 is from Abitha Nana. Dad says he gave her our new address straight away because she didn't want to miss my special day. The card she sent has a blue bear on the front. She still thinks I'm about 2. The third card's from Billy. He lets me open that one myself. There's a brown smudge on the front. When he sees my horrified face, he says it's nothing yucky, just a squashed worm. Card 4 is from Catwoman. She's written that a little bird told her it was my birthday. That little bird must have been a bald-headed eagle because Dad admits it was him who mentioned it when he popped down to Crops and Bobbers when we were out playing invisible football. Card 5 has to be from Pearl. Tearing the envelope apart, I stare at the contents. The message says, "Come visit Biffo's warehouse." It's just one of those stupid flyers that companies send out. I'm not going to cry. I'm not. I don't. I want to, though. I want to cry because today's my birthday and it's supposed to be brilliant, and already it isn't. When Dad sees I'm disappointed, he claps his hands together and says it's presents next. He then sets them on the table. I'm guessing I haven't got the life-size plastic skeleton I wanted, unless Dad has wrapped the skeleton bone by bone. Present 1 is a hardback notebook. Billy's totally disgusted with this, by the way, which serves him right for opening my birthday gifts in the first place. "For your medical notes," says Dad, slurping tea from his Top Dad mug. I try to nod my head, only it's hard with the weight of disappointment on my shoulders. Present 2, a second-hand medical book about healing herbs. Someone has written notes in the margin. When I mention that I'd rather have a new one, Dad says money's a bit tight and new things don't grow on trees. But that's a lie, because new leaves grow on trees every spring. That's all I'm saying. Present 3. Abitha Nan has sent me a knitted cardigan. There is a place for cardigans and also musical Christmas jumpers, scarves and mittens that would fit a long-fingered gorilla. And it's under the bed. Clearly the idea of buying something suitable for an 11-year-old is past Abitha Nana by, like computers, non-alcoholic drinks, mobile phones and tablets, unless they're in small pots with the days of the week on them. Present 4. Billy gives me a collection of dead flies in a matchbox. He's always rescuing bugs and making sure they're okay. Not these flies. They are less than okay. They are dead. Billy points inside the box and says fly number 1, the one without wings, is Mr. Walk. I nod. Fly 2, without wings or legs, Mr. Roll Around. I say it's the best present I've ever had. Billy says he could get me some more bugs. I say I'm not sure my heart can take the excitement. As we're about to leave for school, Dad pulls me to one side. "There's a present 5, he whispers, his voice wheezy with excitement. "I didn't give it to you at the table. This is the present you've been waiting for, son." Hallelujah! The life-size skeleton is hidden in a cupboard. I knew it was. Dad will whip it out at any moment and I'll declare it to be called Mr. Bones. All those other presents I've just opened were tasters because the main present is yet to come. I'll act surprised, of course I will. Unfortunately, I don't have to act surprised at all. I am surprised. His dad hands me a bit of paper folded into a weird shape and says, "This is it." Dad says he's pleased that I'm so stunned. To be honest, he was a bit surprised by it all too. Turns out, Dad was moving around a few of the boxes we brought with us and he found this on the floor and thought of me. Let's get this straight. Dad found a bit of paper on the floor and thought, "Hey, my son would love this for his birthday instead of the skeleton he asked for." I think it's funny how it turned up on your birthday. It reminded me of something from the past. Dad pauses, his eyes unfocused. Then he closes them gently and whispers, "Once, A long time ago, your mum and I went on a date. It was to this great burger bar called Two's Company in Honeydown Hills. It's not there anymore. Oh. Dad opens his eyes again and sighs. Your mum had fries and I had a triple burger with fried onions. Soft as a slipper they were, and there was an egg on top. Dad pauses and smacks his lips together, remembering it fondly. A second later he shakes his head. But I'm not talking about the food. At the end of the meal, your mum folded up the napkin into a little star. Your mum was so good at making things. She gave me the folded star and a kiss that night. But this isn't a star, it looks like a bird, I reply, staring at it and thinking Dad's definitely not getting a kiss from me. You said Mum made stars, so where did the bird come from? I don't know. I just found it lying in the corner of the living room, like I said. I didn't notice it at first, and then when I was moving things around, I spotted it. It reminded me of that date with your mother. Truth is, I lost your mum's star, said Dad, rubbing the koi carp tattoo on his arm absent-mindedly. If only I knew then how precious that star was. The words float away like a helium balloon let go by a child. I stare at the tiny bird in my palm before shoving it in my blazer pocket and whispering, "Today's rubbish and a stupid paper bird that the previous flat owner probably left behind when they moved isn't going to make it any better. Nothing is." Dad deposits Billy and me in the reception area at Bleeding Heart School. The secretary, who introduces herself as Mrs. Parsnips, gives Dad a wad of paper to fill in and then takes him away somewhere. As Dad disappears, Billy tugs on my blazer and whispers that Pearl should have been here to drop us off at school. He asks if she ever sent a text back, and I say she hasn't yet, but she still might. "But what if she forgets who we are?" says Billy, shuffling from one foot to the other. "She won't," I reply. "Grandad Albert did before he died," said Billy. "Every time we visited him, he didn't know who we were. Abitha Nana had to say I was Billy over and over." "He wasn't well," I explain. Then Dad returns and grabs Billy and me into the biggest hug ever, nearly crushing our bones to dust. He only stops to let another boy rush through. With a final cheery wave goodbye, Dad's off. We watch as he climbs into the Codfather van and zooms away as fast as his flat tire will carry him. The one-eyed cod disappears over the horizon. As the secretary excuses herself to take a phone call, Billy's eyes brim with water. "I wanted Pearl to be here more than anything," he wails. "I wanted one of Pearl's special hugs and now I can't have one." Desperately, I try to hush Billy, telling him Pearl's probably having a great time at the circus, flipping around on a soft mat and laughing at the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Billy wipes his eyes and tells me he doesn't think she's at the circus anymore. She's been kidnapped by aliens instead. He saw a strange light in the sky recently. It might have been a spaceship. Or it could have been an aeroplane. But Billy isn't listening to me because he's too busy saying that he's scared that Pearl's gone forever, just like Mum. "Mum didn't go on a spaceship, though," I mutter. "You know that." The secretary finishes her call. She directs me to my new class and then takes Billy off to his. As they walk into the distance, I hear Billy say, "Thank you, Mrs. Parsnips." "It's Parsons," she replies and laughs. "Go in, they don't bite." I'm peering in through the small porthole to my classroom when this voice booms behind me. Quivering, I open the door and venture my foot in. All eyes swivel towards me like a whole room of zombies sensing fresh meat. Well, if that's the case, they do bite. Repeatedly. "Go on inside a bit more, you won't learn anything in the corridor." "No, but I'll still be alive." Once I'm in the classroom properly, the voice from behind says, "I'm Mr. Beagle, and class, this is Beckett Rumsey. He'll be joining us here. Beckett, there's a place at the back. Please take a pew and then I'll take the register." A few minutes later, I'm in my seat playing around with my new pencil case as Mr. Beagle calls out the names. As he reaches D on the register, I take out a pen and write "goodbye" across my knuckles, remembering number 7 on my list, design my own tattoo. Perhaps this is the way to say goodbye to Mum. I give the 2 O's eyes. Next, I draw a few teardrops. They look like squashed flies. Then I realise I've been drawing with permanent pen, and so I start licking my hand like a thirsty dog. Mr. Beagle has moved on to M. "Oi, licky lips," whispers a girl with cornrows sitting at the desk next to me. I put my tongue away. "Want a bracelet? I've made it especially for you. Honestly, it's for you." She fires a rubber bracelet with a tiny butterfly charm on it across to me, and it lands right in front on my pencil case. I shrug. How could she have made it for me when this is the first time she's ever clapped eyes on me? I don't wear bracelets, I mumble back. The girl says that I'll want to wear this one. Put it on! Thinking it would be rude not to, particularly as this is my first day, I shove the bracelet on my wrist and stare at it. Looks good, she mutters. She's either short-sighted or she's lying. I'm Neva, by the way, and that bracelet's your lucky charm. She glances towards Mr. Beagle, who's now on to pee. By the way, it's bad luck to take it off, hisses Neva. You must wear it until it falls off by itself, and when that happens, something amazing will occur. I got the idea from this story I read where the lady wore a green string on her wrist and it was supposed to protect her from danger. She couldn't take it off until it fell off. I only managed to squeak, Did it fall off? Yes, after she broke her wrist. So it didn't protect her from danger then? Great, that's all I need. Day one and I'm stuck with a rubber butterfly bracelet that I can't take off thanks to a crazy girl. What I need to do now is keep right away from her. It turns out there are a few other people at Bleeding Heart that I reckon I need to avoid. The first is the boy who sits in the row in front of me with hands like ham slices and a face like a bulldog chewing on a wasp. He answered to the name Robert Absalom on the register. I went to the toilet halfway through morning class, and when I walked back in, he looked at me like I was something yucky. I tried to smile, but he pointed at my shoe and then realised I got some toilet roll attached to it instead of attached to the toilet bowl. Mr. Beagle got very excited when he saw it and told us how the average person goes to the toilet about 2,500 times a year. A boy in the front row said he goes at least double that, and everyone laughed. Thank you, Dante Moffat, said Mr. Beagle before adding, World Toilet Day is November 19th, and recycled toilet paper does not mean using old toilet paper. The third person I think I need to avoid is the girl with the plait so big Tarzan phoned and asked if he could have his jungle rope back. In morning break, she sidled up to me, said her name was Mimi, and welcomed me to the class, saying everyone thinks I'm ace, but it's only because I'm new. Once I'm old, no one will care anymore. In fact, she already doesn't care. She's too busy doing ballet, chess, French and kung fu to have time to be interested in me. Then she glared at me and skipped away. An hour later, I've decided I do not like anyone in this class. I'll ask Dad when I get home if I can come and work with him on the fish delivery rounds. He'll only have to change the words on the van slightly, the codfather and the codson. As I'm working out what I can say to Dad to convince him, Mr. Beagle says it's time to finish a project they were doing before half term. We were looking at important items from our past, but we didn't get the chance to look at your important items before half term, so I asked you to bring them in today. Beckett, you can just talk about anything important from your childhood. You don't need the item. Perhaps you can start, in fact. I'm so shocked. My intestines feel like they've just fallen out of my pants. Gutted. At least I know exactly what my important item would be. My mum's armchair. But I can imagine it now. I say my important item is my mum's armchair, and then the teacher asks me why, because teachers are like robots, programmed to ask questions. Then I have to lie, because I don't want to tell everyone it's where I feel safe. It's where Mum told me stories and I curled up beside her and felt happy. I don't want to tell everyone it's important because I still have the armchair, but I don't have Mum. Anyway, Robert Absalom will sneer at whatever I say, Mimi will probably strangle me with her plait, and Neva will try to force me into wearing more jewellery. My fingers are so shaky I would totally ace it at playing the maracas in music class. Only we're not in music class, so I have to shove them into my blazer pockets so no one notices. And that's when it happens. I feel something, the tiny paper bird that Dad found on the floor. I pull it from my pocket and put it on the desk. Perhaps I can make up some story about that. There is an air suck of appreciation from Mr. Beagle as he spots the bird, and I'm guessing he's so impressed that I've magically brought something in without even knowing about the project that he has vacuumed all the air from the room. He says this is brilliant. I am brilliant, and I can feel Mimi bristle in front of me. Neva points to the bracelet and mouths, "It's amazing." Only it's nothing to do with the stupid bracelet because it hasn't fallen off yet. It's still stuck on my wrist. And then Mr. Beagle writes 2 words on the whiteboard. A legend. Chapter 4. Okay, so Beckett has started school. I'll see you tomorrow for chapter 5. Looking forward to it already. Bye, guys.